Hello and welcome to The Giant Couch. This is a kind of a spin-off, I guess, of the Giant Pod podcast. Big thank you to everyone who enjoyed our Beatles Get Back review, discussion, whatever you want to call it. That's been really well received. Had some really great comments from everyone in the comment section. Some new subscribers. Hello, thank you for joining us. So yeah, when we finished that, we thought, well, maybe we would do the Giant Couch a little bit more often, just when there's stuff that's coming out that we like and we want to talk about, stuff that we might be a bit knowledgeable on. And so here we are. This is the new Giant Couch. We're going to be discussing the new Green Day release of the BBC sessions live at the BBC, which is recordings taken from 94 to 2001. So it's prime peak Green Day, but it's just before American Idiot, isn't it? Which you could argue is their peak. But this is just.
I think it's definitely a fork in the road, isn't it? So that's when some people got on board with them, but that's also when a lot of people got off the bus who've been with them for a while, isn't it?
Yeah, this is one of those moments. Personally, we love American Idiot.
I love all of it. Yeah, I think American Idiot is great.
Yeah, it's bloody brilliant. So this is the Giant Couch, and thanks for joining us. Like I said, we're going to be doing a few of these over the course of time when things come out. I'm Andy Rintmore, the host of the Giant Pod.
I'm Harry Williams, the producer of the Giant Pod.
Excellent. So let's get on with it. We're going to listen to each track, and we're going to give you our thoughts on each one.
Yep, nice.
First up is
She. Right, we just listened to She.
Yes.
So far, I'm pretty impressed.
It's a banger,
just with the sound quality. And as well, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, it's been a while since I've gone in on Green Day, really. I mean, I love them, but it's not that often I really reach for them. Like, they were my first favourite band, really. But just to be reminded of that song, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's just a great little power trio track, isn't it?
Yeah, like they're a power trio at this point. And there's a lot of power trios in history. There's something about rock bands in a three that somehow managed to produce an insane amount of tension and release.
Yeah.
And really fucking brilliant, like Nirvana, prime example.
I guess it's because there's less instruments on stage, they have to bring it, don't they? Like, all the energy has to just come from those three.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to work out sonically. We were talking while that was on, saying, have they double tracked some bits here?
Yeah.
I know that Billy's been running like stereo guitar rigs for ages, so it could just be that, because the guitar sounded very wide to me, but not necessarily a doubled performance.
Right.
And then some backing vocals. Again, I don't know if they are doubled or not. I know that what was quite popular in the 90s was to use eventide harmonizers.
Right, what was that?
They're like live pitch correction and doubling on vocals. So if you put them on backing vocals, they've just got Mike singing backing vocals. Sounds a bit wider and a bit more like there's a crowd singing, or at least, a small ensemble rather than just one person.
I see. So there's a bit of jiggery pokery.
Yeah. I mean, but that's been going on for years, and that happens live and stuff. But so I don't know how much should we take the word live of this at face value. Because I'm just not sure on that double tracking whether that's been done at the time.
I did feel like I could hear a lower harmony from Billy Joel in there. Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Billy Joe.
Billy Joe.
Yeah, Billy Joel features on this
It's
track.
great, actually. I thought that was quite sort of it's in the chorus, Mike starts off harmonizing under Billy for the first half, and then when it goes like the scream at me till my ears bleed, he's harmonizing above, and it's just like that's a very power trio thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like you're jumping around to where you're needed.
And Green Day come from a very purist scene, and there was what was the venue they used to
Gilman
play?
Street.
Gilman Street.
Yeah,
which is a very purist punk scene, right? And the rule was
they fucking sold out, man.
Yeah, the rule was with a band, once they signed to a major label, they could no longer play Gilman Street. That was the rule. And so Green Day got to a point in their career early on where they had to be like, well, we're going to have to sort of
shun the scene.
We have to go your own way.
Very powerful.
And they did that. And so that tells you that this is a band that even way back then have had ambitions far beyond your traditional punk rock thing. So you can tell that they sit and they think about the arrangements. There's such a tight arrangement.
It's so tight.
There's no fucking there's no fat on this.
Yeah.
It's pure fucking, like, it's straight to the point. It's muscular. It's strong. There's no pissing around.
No
with
nonsense.
No nonsense. It's been refined to within an inch of its life.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they put an amazing amount of effort into achieving that pop sensibility.
Definitely.
And I like that they, they are punk, but they were headstrong enough even back then to be like, no, we have to do this. If we're going to, if we're worth our salt, this is what we're going to do.
Look, I've always thought that, being punk, it's not an excuse for sloppy playing. We can all get a guitar tuner.
Yeah.
We can all agree on the tempo ahead of time, and that doesn't make it any less punk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at we're digressing slightly here, but if you look at all the punk bands now that people still talk about, still wear T-shirts from, and still buy reissues of, they were the guys that could play. There was a huge culture in punk, and still is, of like, oh, it's okay, it's punk because it's kind of sloppy and whatever, and it's not what it's about. But Ramones, still remembered, still listened to, still reissued. Why? They could fucking play.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. The Sex Pistols, they could fucking play. They knew what they were doing. The Damned, they could fucking play. They knew what they were doing. Who else? The Clash. They knew what they were doing. So over time, the other ones sort of fade away, and the guys that are actually musicians who actually try and push a little further and actually do a good job of it, are actually the ones that become legendary landmarks in the genre.
They're the ones getting live at the BBC albums released 25 years after the fact.
Yeah, and people like us talking about it who I was 2 years old when they did that.
I wasn't even born, mate.
Right.
So that's
there we
great
go.
stuff. Great stuff.
Love it.
Let's go in. So yeah, I believe She, overall, great little 2-3 minute pop punk song. The sonics on this are great.
Incredible.
Let's go in for When I Come Around.
When I Come Around. Okay, so that was When I Come Around. You've got a lot of thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I said to you during that, I actually think I'm preferring this to the original studio version. Like coming in, I think...
It's got teeth, hasn't it?
It's got real teeth, yeah, but I think coming in with that exposed first verse, like it starts off with the guitar intro the same, we're expecting that hi-hat to come in and the beat comes in, and it doesn't. And I think it's great. I think Billy's vocal on that is so good. It's such, and the way it's been recorded, it sounds so clean and present, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then when it does kick in the chorus, and it's just, it really comes in there. Mike's bass on this sounds incredible. It's one of the great Mike Dirnt bass lines, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's got so much like jingle jangle distortion mixed in the top end. And as well, also on that, there definitely is some double tracking going on in that when they go to the guitar solo, there's still a rhythm guitar going.
Right.
So I don't know if Jason White was with them at this point. He certainly is in the music video for When I Come Around, and so they knew him.
Right.
So whether he's playing on them with this session, I don't know. But
I'd hazard a guess that he probably would be on this, because bands generally don't put a sideman or a hired gun in the music video unless they've become
he was sort of like, I think he was sort of acting in the music video, to be fair. I don't know if
so he wasn't like playing
I don't think, because I as far as I sort of first remember seeing him show up with them in like 99 or something, actually on stage. But who knows? This is why I think that we need to take the term live at the BBC, the live bit, with a bit of a pinch of salt. Yeah. But I mean, that sounded great, didn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. And also we should mention the fluidity of Trey Cool's drumming.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I mean, they're just the best rock rhythm section ever, aren't they? Mike and Trey.
Shut that on me. They're fucking great.
I'm chucking that on you. Take it.
Nirvana did change my life, so I don't know. I might have to. But I'm not going to deny they're world class. Yeah, they are among the best at what they do. There's no denying that they are locked in. Yeah. They definitely deliver the goods. But yeah, the fluidity of those fills, just amazing. Just amazing.
It's great stuff.
They're very well rehearsed at this point, aren't they? Yeah. They are just greased. Yeah. So I don't know what the next track is.
No, nor me. We'll find out in a minute. We'll see you after it.
Let's consult the oracle. It's Basket Case.
Basket Case. See you after Basket Case.
See you then. So yeah, we're back after listening to Basket Case. I feel like you've got a lot to say about this because you're the producer man. You've got a lot of the, you've got a lot of the insight
picking up on things
into what's going on there.
Well, I have a more general point about Basket Case first, which is that it's such a popular Green Day song that it's kind of hard to hear it for what it is sometimes.
Yeah,
and that you're like, there's Basket Case by Green Day again. So to have a new recording of it that's high quality is great because you're just like, it's a fucking brilliant little song, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was pointing out to you earlier, I was like, oh, did you know it's actually they've stolen the chords from Canon in D by Pachelbel? But it's like, who gives a shit? It sounds great. It's such a great little song. And
talent borrows, genius steals.
As you say. Yes, that's the strap line for the podcast. Let me see. I made some notes as we were going on this one. Oh, yeah. Well, I was talking about how in that one particularly, the tempo is all over the place, but I don't want to give the impression that that means that I think it's poorly done. I'm saying that because this is in the 90s and they're a proper olden days, good old-fashioned rock band, they're just playing together. Yeah. And with a song like this, they let the tempo ebb and flow. Like when it goes into the instrumental break, it speeds up so much.
Yeah, and that is a classic. As a drummer myself, I can tell you, and you probably know this, Harry, that when you're playing a song like that, and it's all go, and everything's firing on all cylinders, and like you said, Billy Joel, I nearly said Billy Joel again. Billy Joe is playing in stereo either side of you. It gets pretty fucking exciting.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I can't wait to get to the solo.
Like, oh my God, it's coming. It's going to be so fucking good.
Yeah.
And then you just go, and then you're in there.
I mean, it's no criticism at all. I think it's great. It speeds up well into it. And then when it comes back out and the vocals come in.
Well, it's human, isn't it?
It comes right back down. It's human. But like, it's interesting because the first two I thought were quite tight in tempo, so it shows it's a choice because they can basically be bang on grid without a click if they want to.
Yeah.
But when they go off click, it's great. They know what you can trust them.
Yeah. I wonder if this stuff was being filmed as well. So I'm wondering if there was perhaps a bit of showboating going on during
Possibly,
that
but
section.
I think these were done for radio.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would
do
have
film them nowadays, but then it's easier, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, what would you have done with them back then?
YouTube.
Put them on a VHS compilation or something. I feel like we'd know about it if they
we'd have seen it. Possibly, yeah.
Certainly, I know that the Maida Vale sessions they did for 21st Century Breakdown are filmed. There's like a little Zane Lowe interview, but yeah, I don't think these ones are.
Right.
But yeah,
they just get a bit excited and head into it, which I think is great because I mean I've recorded music where yes it's on a click, but there are moments where the click drops out and we let it head into a more sort of organic feel. And that always works really well. And then I've done recordings where after the fact you listen to it and you go, this entire thing is on grid and we've gridded it to sound natural, but it's slammed into, place.
Yeah.
And I personally enjoy it getting a bit more chaotic because although the layman or the regular listener or the untrained ear isn't necessarily going to go, oh, the tempo's picked up here, they're going to feel it.
It's an energy shift, isn't it? It's a sort of subconscious thing. Yeah.
And I think that's great. That's what rock and roll's about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. No one does it better. Right. What track is next?
It's the next track is 2,000 Light Years.
2,000 Light Years Away.
Away.
Now, I do know this song. Not all that well,
right.
But I feel like both me and you are a little, maybe pre-Dookie's a bit of a blind spot for us, Green Day-wise.
The smoothed out Kerplunk bits, pre-Dookie, I'm a little bit...
I have listened to them, but,
but
they're not on rotation often.
Yeah, if you asked me to sing you one or hum one,
I
wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
So
let's go check it out then. Let's go check it out.
That was 2,000 Light Years Away.
It's good stuff.
Another tight, muscular arrangement.
So tight. It's just all those little stops and starts and accents and like little dynamic shifts and stuff they do. Like, I feel like it's like
they're having fun with that.
They're having a lot of fun, and it's like that's the sort of stuff that comes out of messing around in a garage and just jamming, doesn't it? Little stuff like that just tends to emerge. And
that comes out of you being on a good day.
Yeah,
and where everyone's just dialed in. and you're having a bit of that sort of like bands tend to get a bit like arrogant and showboaty in their own little bubbles.
Yeah.
And you start showing off to each other. But when you're in a session like that and it's going that well, that's when those little golden nuggets come out and you go, hang on a minute.
Yeah,
what did we just do.
Let's
do it again.
I mean, I feel like it's a sort of popular opinion to be like, well, Green Day only writes songs with 4 chords. It's rubbish. It's like, that is proof that, like, yeah, it may only be 4 chords, but there's a lot more to a song than just chords.
Yes, 4 chords and infinite possibilities.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And it's like, if it's so easy, you do it.
Yeah.
You imaginary cynic.
Right. And, you know, these guys are firmly following on from where the Ramones left off. And at this point, the Ramones hadn't left off, but this is come. Well, I mean, spiritually they may have checked out, but there's still. Well, I will defend. There's some good Ramones. There's some good later Ramones. Disc 2 of Ramones Anthology. I know we're digressing.
Yeah,
is my favorite disc 2 because my mate had it and lost disc 1. I could only listen to disc 2.
Okay.
But there's some good shit on there. But Green Day are picking up, basically taking the baton from the Ramones at this point, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to show, you know, the Ramones are famous for having 4 chords. And yet Green Day is still managing to pull out some incredible generation-defining rock music from that formula.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've also said on this one, I love how, like, because this is, I guess, also probably, you know, 93, 94 they would have recorded this, 94 I guess.
Yeah.
His voice, like, he's still got like his sort of young, quite kind of bratty.
Yeah, there's a youthful quality to it. And that sort of stuff, I mean, I don't want to go too deep on the punk rock history stuff, but that's the kind of stuff that was probably taken from a band like the Descendants, which are what would be considered one of the first pop punk bands.
Right.
And there's a track called I'm Not a Loser by them from the album Milo Goes to College. It's all like, think that I'm a loser, you know, it's like it's kind of that suburban bratty, like, my parents are shit, everything's shit, my girlfriend hates me, and it's that kind of like, it's very angsty, isn't it? But it's used to great effect on this. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel sort of naive or immature. It just sounds very youthful and
sprightly.
Yeah, and a bit snotty, but in a charming way.
Yeah, there's just enough to make it sort of menacing, but he doesn't sound like a naughty boy who's just been sent to his room. And he's like, I don't want to go.
It's not Jilted John.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Loved it.
Let's go for the next track.
Yeah,
let's go for the next track. What have we got?
Let me ask Siri. It is Geek Stink Breath.
Okay, so we're moving on to Insomniac now
Yes.
then. So we can assume that these sessions took place in, I'd say, 95 or 96.
I would pick up that CD case and check the date, but I fear a domino effect.
Wait, I know it came out in 95, but it's just when they would have made it over to the UK to promote it. So who knows? It's irrelevant. Let's listen to Geek Stink Breath.
Okay, that was Geek Stink Breath from Insomniac album. My first thought here is this is the first time on this album, on this release that we're listening to, I'm hearing a direct influence from the grunge movement. Or the alternative rock movement, whatever you wanted to call it, from the 90s. We all kind of understand that when Kurt Cobain killed himself in 94, that's when traditionally, culturally, people believe the grunge era died. But I think it held on quite strong for a couple of years yet, with releases from Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. And so Green Day are benefiting from when Nirvana kicked the doors down for the mainstream with Nevermind. Without Nevermind, there's no Green Day, like no Green Day success like that, I don't think. But this is the first time in this release I'm hearing a grunge influence where they're not being purist in a punk rock sense. There's an element there with that guitar tone, with that fucking meat and you're getting in there, and the way that they open it up. And Trey is on those crash cymbals.
I was thinking that,
It's very Nirvana esque.
Yeah.
When they take it up to that.
It's like quite staccato. Yeah, it really like opens and closes, doesn't it? Even though it's kind of playing around the same kind of set of chords. It's like, you know, super tight hi-hat, super short bass notes. The hi-hat pedal starts to open a bit. The bass notes gets longer. He goes up onto the crash. It's all fucking hell breaks loose.
Yeah,
you know?
it's tension and release, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not quite the quiet loud dynamic that Nirvana were really milking on, especially on their last studio recording of You Know You're Right, which they stole from the Pixies. But it's Green Day messing around with that light and shade a little
in
bit.
that tradition,
of just making like, how can we make something that's quite intense and energetic more intense? Like I always like that when you can open a valve that's already kind of fucking open.
Yeah. No, it's great. I think that really is. It's like, and we were saying as well, obviously they'll have, in between the first 4 tracks that we've heard and this one, you know, potentially 2 years has passed in real time, hasn't it? If not longer. Like, you can tell they're road dogs now. They've got a world tour under their belt.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I feel like that didn't sound like as clean as the tracks that were off Dookie. It sounded a lot more raucous.
Yes.
But I think in a good way, you know.
Oh yeah, nothing felt. It never went into an arena where you felt like, oh, this is kind of lo-fi.
No.
Or this is no. It was controlled chaos.
Yeah.
You know, what we're hearing is what they wanted. I think.
It's also just reminded me, like, Insomniac is a brilliant little album, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got some amazing tracks on it, and I want to hear some more now, please.
Yes. Well, maybe once we finish recording this, we'll put some. We'll do that.
Yes.
We'll do that. That was the other thing I was going to mention when you mentioned that you can tell they've been on a world tour. Vocally, very different.
It's no worse in terms of pitch. It's just a slightly different.
Yeah, it's
timbre, isn't it?
It sounds like you said. He sounds like he's got a world tour under his belt. Sounds like he's found a little bit of that gruff.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably smoked a few thousand cigarettes since the last BBC session. You know, drank a bit more.
Yeah. Well, this is the
and it's good. It's not a deterioration of his ability. It's not like, you know, some of our older legends who you hear now and you go, oh god. It's just a different. I'm not going to say he's finding his voice. It's just at a different gear.
It's just evolving.
He's got a different command of his voice at this point, and
yes.
it's a welcome. It's welcome.
Nice.
What's next?
Brain Stew.
Yes,
Brain Stew.
I love this one.
Yes, this one's going to be ferocious, I think.
Yes.
Right. See you after that.
Word. Well, fuck me. That sounded like they had a pizza on the way to the studio and they were like, let's get this shit done.
I think they may have been on harder stuff in those days, to be fair, mate. But I get your point.
This is...
We're a bit out of breath because we were both air drumming along to Jaded there, which we weren't expecting.
Yes. Came
as a pair.
Yeah, they came as a pair. Forgot to announce that earlier. But yeah, wow. That was a masterclass in a band that knows exactly what they're doing. They're in complete fucking control, but they know how to make it sound like they're on the edge of collapse.
Particularly in Jaded.
Yes.
There were a few bits when I was like, good God, this is going to fall to shit at any minute.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
He's going to drop. He's going to catch his drumstick on a cymbal and it's going to go flying. And that happens, man.
Yeah,
It did not happen.
Yeah.
It did not happen. Fucking madness.
Amazing.
For a drumming sense. And like you said, you were like, I can't process this. The rate it was and what's really cool about that is that though Trey is going which is as standard as it comes punk beat, straight from the Ramones, straight from Discharge, straight from all that stuff, he's doing it so he's just displacing that beat very, very subtly, just.
And he is the master of the crash cymbal accent.
Yeah.
His, you know.
Yeah, he's very, very good. And it's musical with it as well.
Yeah. It's playing off the guitar, it's playing off the bass, it's playing off the vocal. It's, you know, they've obviously, they know what each other are playing.
Yes.
You know, but some bands I feel don't really actually listen to what the other members play. They definitely do.
Yeah, they write their bit and they think, oh, overall this sounds quite good.
Yeah.
But if someone says, well, what is the bass player doing in that moment?
Who
you
can
go,
say? Who can say?
Really know. That's his job.
A few interesting things I noticed on this again. I mean, there's definitely some lead vocal doubling going on in Brain Stew. Again, it could be Mike. I'd need to listen on headphones to be 100% sure. But again, I think they're maybe doing a bit of studio stuff there. And the guitars are obviously layered up in that because you can hear different flickety-dickety stuff in different ears, you know. And but I actually quite like
textures.
How in the main stabs on the record, they've obviously gone in and cleaned up the gaps a bit. So it's like deading, silence, deading, silence. Whereas this is kind of like in the first verse,
there's no
it's
amp
like
humming in the back or whatever.
Yeah, whereas on this there is a bit. It's like deading, deading. It's just like little bits of shit going
Someone
on.
Putting a mug down on a table.
yeah. I don't know. I just like it removes just that layer of artifice a bit, doesn't it? I mean, it's not dramatically different from the studio version, but it's just balls to the walls.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, if they're going at it like we've got a studio version, and if we're doing a live, quote unquote, live version, they're trying to capture that live energy, aren't they? Because the reason they're over here is to sell albums, but the main reason a band like that comes over here is because they're touring. Yeah, and they want to be like, well, come, you know, this is what you're gonna get. And if you didn't want to go and get an elbow in the teeth when you heard Jaded, well, then they failed, but they haven't, have they? I'd come out of mosh pit retirement for that, I think. What is next? I don't know.
Walking Contradiction.
Walking Contradiction. Another banger.
Another great little Insomniac banger.
Right.
And in fact, the music video for Walking Contradiction is amazing. Have you seen it?
Remind me of it.
It's one of their...
It'd be on the Super Hits DVD, wouldn't it?
It's on one of their first slightly higher budget ones. And it's basically... It's like quite a lot of it is filmed in like one shots and stuff. It's basically Billy Joe walking around and like narrowly avoiding chaos, but being completely fucking oblivious to it. So he's like walking down the street, then like a piano falls on his head, like just behind him, and should have hit him on the head. Then he'll just like walk out in the middle of the road and cause like a car pile up, but again not notice.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it ends up with them blowing up a car.
Yeah,
this was still when music videos had budget, you know.
Yeah, because they knew people were going to watch them, fuck about them, right? Yeah. And they were the key to a hit.
But that
shame
aside,
it's not that way anymore.
It's a shame it's not that way. Very much so. Let's jump in and hear it.
Let's do it.
Goodness gracious me, I fucking love that song.
That was great.
And I don't feel like Walking Contradiction it's not one that's in their live sets all that often, really.
Okay.
I've seen them a few times. I don't think I've ever seen them play that. So to hear a live version is nice, you know.
Yeah.
What a great song. I mean, again, really simple little chords, but a great groove, great like tempo and feeling off each other. And I just love the lyrics. They're just so funny. They're so like little clever, little twisty. It's like a Roald Dahl or like Lewis Carroll poem or something. Right. They're just so silly and funny. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. And he definitely sounds a lot brattier on this one. He's definitely he's leaning into that that jaded, cynical energy that this song is bringing to the table.
Right. I think the vocals in this, I think they're very like traditional punk vocals. Like when they're like, I do not believe. It's very Ramones. They're sort of singing it very lazily, and like I love how in that bit as well, like the way that and. This is actually sort of quite common in a lot of their earlier materials. The harmonies kind of sound like that at one point would have been improvised, you know. Right. So it's like it slips in and out of like sometimes it's doubling the melody, sometimes it's harmonizing below, sometimes above, and it's kind of going between those all the time in quite like an interesting, like unconventional line. And you get notes like rubbing up against each other, and it's sounding a bit nasty, but it's tension and release, man. It's great, you know.
Brilliant.
And they're not sitting down at a piano going like, oh, we'll have a dissonant minor second there. They're just going, yeah, you do that. That sounds cool. But it's great, you know, and then fucking losers like us come along and point it out.
Yeah, I do. You mentioned it with the tempo. I'm not even sure how to articulate it properly, but there's something there's something with that tempo where I feel like it's very like pulls you back. It's very like lean forward, pulls you back. It's got a very I I don't know. It's got like an ebb and
a lilt almost, or like a swag.
Yes. There's a swag
Swagger.
to it. Yeah. It's got a spring in its step, but there's I can't even describe it. It just bops really nicely.
Well, a lot of the chords are kind of anticipated, aren't they? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, ding, ding, ding. So it's almost like you're so excited you can't wait to get to the next chord.
Yeah.
That to wait for the bar line would be an insult. It's like ding, 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 eng, 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 ding. Like the chords are always
swung, isn't it?
anticipating the bar.
I guess it's swung, isn't it?
Yeah.
Love it.
What's next, man?
It stuck with me. So that was Stuck With Me.
It's a great one. That's a song I've not thought about for so many years.
Incredible. I didn't know it from name, and then as soon as it played, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know this."
It's I think it's Mike Dirnt's finest hour, possibly. He's really getting his money's worth out of that bass, you know.
Yeah,
covering some ground.
He's visiting frets that other bass players
have only heard rumours of.
Punk rock bass players. I heard there's more. There's more frets. Yeah. Brilliant. Again, like you mentioned earlier, with Trey Cole being one of the great accent drummers in rock history, it's all over this. Over this.
So many little stabs and jumps and just things popping out, and the vocals on this as well. They're so Ramones. It's so there's a proper like what did that? Hold on, wait. If we put both our mics like about here, and now shout 1, 2, 3, 4 as loud as we can. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. That sort of thing, you know. 5, 6, 7. I'm the most good at heaven.
so ridiculous.
Oh! Yeah, so it's like that. It's like that, you know.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's great. It's very there's a lot of that kind of oi punk sort of stuff there.
Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. I also love that bit after the bass solo when it goes into the chorus.
Yeah.
When the chorus ends, it's like it does like a little. It almost like it like cuts off a few beats or something, and it's like it should go. Then back into the riff.
Right.
It just goes and then we're back in the riff. Suck it, deal with it.
Suck ADHD.
Yeah.
So fuck it. And also whoever's engineering that particular track, props to them, because that ride cymbal. Oh my God. It's got the ting, the ping, and a metallic edge to it. There's something going on there. I think he's going between the bell and the ride or something. Yeah, I feel like he does a
lot of this like ping, 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 ping. So I'm moving his hand up and down like that.
Yeah,
it's great playing, but
fucking fantastic.
Yeah, we need to, do you know what? I'll put in I'll put a text overlay on at this point, if we can find out who the original engineers were and then who has actually mixed this particular version.
Right.
Because I mean it all sounds great and they need their credit, don't they?
They do.
So,
yeah. Amazing. Next is Hitchin' a Ride.
Hitchin' a Ride.
Another banger.
Hitchin' a Ride. So
this is like a greatest hits.
It is. But then there's a few kind of off-kilter ones thrown in there. It's not just the international super hits track listing, is it?
No.
It's like they've put some different stuff in there. But Hitchin' a Ride. So we've graduated to Nimrod now.
Okay.
Which
unfortunately isn't represented here. I've got basically. It's a bit revealing, but next door I have a second bedroom, and it's basically a record store. And you walk in, and it looks like a record store in there. And I was just pulling all the Green Day out for this, and there was no Nimrod, and I couldn't believe it. I have a memory of holding a copy of Nimrod, and I checked my Discogs app, which I've scanned everything into, and it's not in there. So I don't know. But there's no Nimrod here, unfortunately. But there will be soon. We've
got to get that sorted out. Yeah. It's got some great tracks.
And we'll sit and listen to it. I feel like we on our next album night, some Green Day.
Definitely.
Some Green Day.
Absolutely. But yes,
Hitchin' a Ride.
May I reopen this section? Because I think, actually, although that was a great performance, I think that was the first recording I found to be slightly lackluster, actually.
I didn't enjoy that.
No, nor me.
It's a fucking great song.
Great song. It started with great promise. I thought the verse section sounded really good. It was really like prowling, you know, really... What did you use? Stalkerish, you said. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the Troubled Times section, the first one, and we're going, a bit thin here. not sure I like what they've done to the cymbals here.
Yeah,
very roomy, harsh.
That crash cymbal, incredibly roomy. I mean, we're listening to this via some Cambridge audio hi-fi gear, so we're in the high end
stuff. And I was listening to this on, we've both got decent headphones. I was listening to this on my Boses earlier, and I thought the same. Like, it's just
quite revealing equipment we're using.
Yeah.
But I imagine through a phone speaker or however most people will engage with this, it's going to be quite painful, I think.
Yeah, and I felt like the verse sections, it was like, it felt like there was so much like potential energy, because that song on the record is really like they're really like fucking trying to keep it locked down, and then when it goes like, my
the toms sound great,
swelling up, pause, and it goes mad. What happened?
Don't know.
In the bits where it's supposed to go heavy, it went all thin and shit.
Yeah, it felt very brittle.
Yeah,
that crash cymbal was really there's something to be said for uncompressed crash cymbals on recordings.
Yeah,
but that was
too much.
That was quite oppressive.
I just thought that the whole balance was weird. Like the loudest elements in that was like the hi-hat and the overheads.
Yeah,
and then you've got like the vocal.
And you got some
in there.
really great in the end the end section, the end chorus, whatever it is. You got those really great backing vocals coming in, and they're just completely drowned out.
It's
a shame, because
they've definitely got
great.
some of that eventide doubling stuff going on again. That sounded really good. But I'm not sure there was a second guitarist on this one, because for instance, when I come around earlier, Billy goes to his kind of lead part. The power chords are still there, so if someone's playing it, whether it's him or Jason or whoever,
Yeah.
Whereas in that, it goes to the freak out section. He's going up to a sort of octave line, and then it means there's just a whole like the meat on the bone in the power chords has gone all of a sudden,
right?
And we're just left with a bit of a thin section, and that's a shame, because I really like that song, but that just did not land for me.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, it's a great song, but it's been let down there somehow.
Let's hope this isn't going to be true for all the Nimrod songs.
Yeah.
Let's hope they weren't having an off day, or the engineer was drunk or something.
Because they seem to be in batches on this, don't they?
Yeah.
Batches of sessions.
I guess, that was when they would be in the UK on their promo tours, the BBC would grab them, I assume. But I don't want to get too negative on that one, but it didn't really land for me. But let's go into the next track, which
is
Nice Guys Finish Last.
That's right.
Great little song. See if this redeems it.
Okay.
A
great song, probably more traditionally punk rock than the last few that we've heard in terms of lyrical content and its repetition. It's definitely more of a rootsy song for Green Day, but again, drums sounded the snare sounded like it was made of paper. Far too loud. And the cymbals,
the mix is just a bit weird. I was thinking during that, possibly it's just one of those where, like, on the session for this, maybe they were just in a smaller room than usual. The drums were spilling into other mics or something. But it's like the Nice Guys Finish Last, dang dang dang, that little ride bell. When that comes up, it's like there's all this other bullshit coming in the mix, and like I don't know, it just sounds like it sounds messy. I don't.
It's not very organised presentation.
It doesn't seem to have the bass. Doesn't seem to have that same depth and bite. All just very harsh, and the vocals. The vocal performance is great. Don't get me wrong. Like Billy and Mike sound great.
The playing is all good,
but just sonically these. Hasn't done that for me either. Really, it wasn't as offensive as Hitching a Ride.
No. But still a bit on those cymbals. I feel like they've tried to bring in a little bit of low end on those cymbals and not make them so shrill. And it's added a sort of a lo-fi.
There's some nonsense going on, isn't there? I feel it sounds like there's like MP3 artifacts in the low mid or something.
Right. Maybe they've had to reassemble this from. Perhaps this is.
Who knows?
Sources on that, but it sounds very 128. MP3 to me on those crash cymbals.
Maybe they've had to do a little bit of. I mean, it could just be that like they don't have the multi tracks for all of these, and they just had the mix that went out,
right?
And have had to sort of try and do that because the mixes up until now have been great. So maybe just they don't have the multi-tracks for the Nimrod sessions or something. I don't know. But I feel like this little section is dulling my opinion of the album. We've been having a great time so far.
Had a really good time.
But now we have a sort of slightly concerned ear to make sure there's no nonsense going on.
Yeah, we might have to stage an intervention.
Right. Oh, you know what I was saying earlier about crediting the engineers?
Yeah.
I'm going
to...
So next up we've got Prosthetic Head, which is another Nimrod one. So this will be our last chance to see whether there's something going on that day.
Yeah.
Or what? Who knows what's going on? But yeah, Prosthetic Head. Again, hadn't thought about this song in fucking years. It's a great song.
Yeah.
It's a great little song.
Looking forward to it.
Bam. Okay, bam. Prosthetic Head. Great to hear that song again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same sort of mixed problems are present on this, really.
Yeah.
I think it's just when it goes heavy, it's just the cymbals sound horrible.
Yeah. I tell you what they sound like. They sound like sort of cheap and nasty crash cymbals, which have a sort of... there's a science behind what percentage zinc and copper and other alloys are present in certain cymbals. And basically, the more money you're paying for cymbals, the finer metals you're getting inside of them, or the better mix or something. There's a science for cymbals.
Yeah, with cymbals, supposedly the even harmonics travel upwards and the odd harmonics travel downwards.
Right.
So, like, if you've mic'd them from underneath, that could be what it is. You get a bit of a shit sound if you mic them from underneath.
Yeah, he could be on those little clip-on-y
little choke mics.
Yeah, that kind of. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that one was as bad. I think we maybe have got in our heads a little bit about it now. But yeah, the drums definitely just aren't quite as good on this whole segment of the album.
No.
But I thought, in the verses, like when it's like the clean guitar and the drums, he's super tight. Also, this kind of strokes beat. It's when you I don't think he's hitting the snare with the hi hat.
Right.
It's like that sort of Charlie Watts kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sounds really great, and then when that distortion pedal kicks on, it really goes up a gear. And I think, that little chorus vocal where Mike's like holding that note, and then Billy's like dancing around underneath. Great stuff. A little shame about the mix. I don't feel like that one was as offensive.
No, there was that strange moment in the middle when it kind of goes.
Oh
to,
shit!
A vocal on of quite a thin guitar, and a solo vocal, and I think it was almost like that moment in. I think it's American Idiot when he switches to the megaphone.
He's got he's got telephone voice all over that record. You know? Think of, like, for instance, the first part of Homecoming. My heart is beating from me. That's all very like singing down the phone.
Yeah.
That was like a shit 90s version of trying to do that.
Yeah.
And it just sounded like when your connection drops out on Zoom. Like, it sounded horrible. What song have we got next?
We've got Redundant.
Bam. Let's check it out. Great little song that would not be out of place on Rubber Soul, I feel.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, with that additional lead guitar that was got like a tremolo on it?
Yeah, I think it's like a sort of tremolo-y, Leslie sort of just I don't know, I just sort of think of it as a sort of surf guitar.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. Yeah, very very reminiscent of a lot of it would have been George Harrison's work on Rubber Soul. Yeah.
And there's again, there's definitely some nice little studio stuff going on in that. I felt the mix was a lot better on that. There's an acoustic layered in there.
Yeah.
There's that lead part
very
in there.
subtle. They're using that as candy, aren't they?
It's percussion basically at that point. Yeah. But it's in there and it just keeps things going along a bit, and like it's just a really nice little song actually. I mean it's quite it's sort of leaning towards a ballad as much as they allow themselves to do at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, later they'd fully get the pianos out, and obviously I know that on that album was Time of Your Life, but
get the pianos out.
Yeah, but they lean into that a bit more later on.
Yeah,
I think it's a great.
They're dipping their toes in the water.
Dipping their toes, and I think it's a little sneak preview of what was to come.
Yeah,
but it's still somehow a retro song, and I love it in the chorus, just Billy and Mike singing exactly the same melody, just sort of kind of shouting it a bit. It's almost like it's like polite punk. I don't know. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, well, it's a bit Beach Boys-esque at times.
Yeah, there's a Pet Sounds thing in there. Actually, I can hear that.
Yeah. Especially if you took that melody and you soloed those vocal takes, it would be very if they're all doing falsetto with that.
Yeah.
And put some like dong dong
put
dong
a French horn solo in or something. Yeah.
Very cool. Very
really
cool.
Good stuff. Really good stuff.
And it is cool. It's sophisticated. And at this point, there'd probably been a whole section of like punk fans or whatever that would be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Green Day sold out with Redundant, man. They sold out with Redundant.
But it's like it's a fucking great example of songwriting, structure. Just a lot of thought is in everything they do.
Yeah,
it seems.
It seems to me like one of those songs where the initial idea would have come very quickly, and then it's months and months of refinement.
Yeah, it's very sugary.
Yeah,
very very sugary.
Again, not off. I don't feel like that's often in the live sets, that one. I mean, I've seen a few clips of them playing it, but yeah, it didn't often seem to make it in. So it's good to have a nice, high quality version of that in the archive.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this release is it's a chance to hear some favourites with some new production, some new energy, maybe slightly off the leash a little bit at times, but it's a historical document.
Definitely.
And I love me historical rock and roll documents.
So that was the last song we're going to hear off Nimrod there. So we're into the final phase of the album, which is the Warning sessions.
Yeah.
So Warning, very much a controversial point for Green Day fans at the time.
Was the first... Oh, wait. We haven't had Time of Your Life yet, have we?
Time of Your Life is on Nimrod. It's track 17.
Right.
But I presume they're just not doing it on this because it's like they're,
so that would have been their last controversial thing, Time of Your Life.
Yeah, definitely that. And I feel like this is them like fully
being
going.
Like, well, we survived that,
it.
and it was a big hit.
Yeah, I mean the Time of Your Life. I mean, doing an acoustic guitar with strings is not that brave, really. Come on, but like breaking out the organs and going like fully into the acoustic guitar, and the accordion, and the harmonica, like. This is the Green Day White album. This is their folky one.
Right. And they're probably leaning into a bit of an Americana thing. And they're probably looking more guys like Neil Young at this point, who everyone claims is the godfather of grunge and a very punk rock figure himself. You listen to it, there's a lot of like Crazy Horse stuff that sounds very grungy and punky. And he was never afraid to fuck with a harmonica or, like you said, organs and things like that. So this is probably them looking at those sort of alternative to alternative rock heroes.
What is more punk than abandoning your successful formula and doing something completely different?
Exactly.
Right, let's hear Castaway first.
Castaway.
Castaway. Castaway. Castaway. Go out to love. Oh,
you rock away, bitch.
So for all that talk we were saying about how they abandoned their formula and ditch the electric guitars and
they
go to
mugged
acoustics,
us off.
That would not have been out of place on Dookie or Insomniac.
No, that was them almost being like, well, we still got it.
We still got it. It's snotty. Again, I think it's fair to say that maybe there was just a bit of an off day on the Nimrod session because the sound quality is back.
Somebody overslept.
Someone was asleep at the wheel there, but this is sounding great. Again, Castaway. I can't remember the last time I thought, I wanted to listen to Castaway by Green Day, but I'm glad to have heard it again. It's a great song.
I'll tell you what, although we've kind of said about the Nimrod sessions being a bit, I'm glad they're on there. I'd rather have them than not.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure.
But I am very pleased to see a return to form.
To be out of that part of the woods.
But I wouldn't omit them.
No, certainly not.
I definitely
certainly not.
We're better for having heard them.
Yeah.
But now we can move on.
But yeah, no, I just think that's I really like in that song particularly, like just those stabs. It's like a little one-time event. Like there's one bit where they just go like dang 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 dang, and then they never do it again.
It's a bit bird as a word.
It is, but but the thing is, it sounds really cool. But they're like, we could do that for the next 2 bars or the next 8 repeats, but no, just the one.
Yeah,
if you missed it. Shit, that's on you. You know?
Catch it next time.
Yeah.
Leave them wanting more.
Lovely stuff.
Great.
A great little sleeper hit on Warning, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
What we got next, Andy?
What have we got next? This is a good question. I feel like I've got one job, and every time I'm forgetting. Church on Sunday.
Church on Sunday. Another little great hit off Warning. Now, in the original recording for this, I feel like there's a bit of organ and stuff going on. There's some interesting backing vocals. Let's see what's going on.
See how they get there.
Lovely stuff.
That was brilliant.
And again, that's they got a bloody saxophone in there.
Yeah.
A fantastic idea.
And not just like a token saxophone. Like in terms of like, it's not just like, oh, here it comes ripping out of nowhere in place of a guitar solo because we've run out of ideas of things.
It's part of the ensemble, isn't it?
It's part of it. It's Bruce Springsteen. It's E Street Band.
He's done it. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Because Billy Joe, he's going for that working class thing, isn't he? A little bit.
Yeah.
In punk rock, I think he tries to represent that everyman-y thing a little bit. Maybe that would be later on in the career, but there definitely seems to be some Springsteen, the boss, elements coming in.
Just
there.
A regular man going to church,
right?
Yeah, really good stuff. I think that was a great little performance. I love, I love that we're talking about one-time events, like little things that just come, they happen once and never again. It's like, if I promise, go to da, 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 and then back in, and it's just like, you fucking naughty boys. Because they're not just doing triplets there, they're doing triplets and they're pulling the tempo like way back, and then bam, right back. It just picks up from where it left off. It's like they're just pushing it up to the cliff of nonsense, and then going, "We won't push you this time, but we could."
Yeah, they're flexing there.
Yeah.
And it must be fun as well. If you can do it and you can do it that well, it's fun, isn't it? Just to keep things interesting.
Definitely bring in some new instruments. It clearly, you can hear they're enjoying themselves. It's something new for them to vibe off.
Yeah,
great stuff.
Fantastic.
Let's go for the next song. We've got Minority next.
Yeah.
Banger. Let's get right into it.
Minority.
I fucking love Minority, man.
Great.
I've not heard that song in ages as well. And
I liked that maybe more than maybe perhaps it's because I've heard and seen the music video so many times and heard the studio version so many times. But that was fun. There was a lot of energy. That sounded more like that sort of like what's the word? Tinker tape? What's the parade that's in the video?
Oh right, yeah.
That sounded way more like it was kind of like a song from a parade like that.
I mean, you've seen Bullet in a Bible. When they play Minority, that's when they have their fun, basically.
Right.
Like in that instrumental section in the middle with the harmonica solo, that's when they do jams and introduce the band and everyone. Maybe that started the tradition. It's a nice little instrumental break. Why not have a little trumpet solo in there?
Why not?
You've got him on the road with you for King for a Day. I guess that's probably why they started having them.
Right.
For King for a Day off Nimrod. But what a brilliant performance!
If you're paying someone 150 a day or whatever the standard,
you may as well use them. Yeah,
put them to work, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. I think there was maybe some accordion in there, or possibly harmonica, or possibly both. The only reason I'm confused is because it continued when the vocal came in, so you can't sing and play harmonica at the same time.
Right. I think it's harmonica.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And again, the tempo in that, like the difference between when it comes in the first, the I Want to Be the Minority chorus sections, and then in the verse, it gets faster and faster throughout the verse. And then when the chorus comes back in again, the tempo pulls way back, and it's interesting. It's like they can't wait to get to the chorus.
Right?
They're having a race to the chorus through the verse.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of energy in that. You commented on how the drum sound was just great, very very present toms, but the shells were very present and powerful.
Yeah.
But the cymbals weren't. They were there, but they weren't upsetting anyone.
They weren't overpowering or shrill or whatever.
And you know those stabs where it goes ding ding, and he gets the harmonic. And as you said, he gets the harmonic.
Yeah,
but he gets the correct one, so it's in tune as well.
Yeah, it's bloody lovely.
Lovely stuff.
It's just they're studio tight, ready to fight, mate.
They're very naughty boys, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. One final song on the BBC live sessions,
and it's one of the best. It's the one of, I mean, we're saying that we're listening to this and we're doing our sneak preview, we're doing our previews, but I've heard Waiting.
I've heard Waiting as well. I feel like that was one of the ones that
I think it was the first one they released to tease it out on Spotify. So I have heard this once or twice. It's great.
Yeah, let's just get into it. I say,
wow, Waiting, incredible.
I mean, it's Waiting by Green Day. You don't think of it often, but then you hear it and you're like, it's Waiting by Green Day.
Yeah.
And it's a great little song. And in fact, it reminded me of, there's a great YouTube video of them performing this on Letterman.
Right.
And in the break in the middle, when Billy's doing his sort of quiet, sensitive bit, Trey Cool stands up I think he stands up on his drum stool and tips an entire bag of flour over his head.
Yeah, wow, I mean, punk rock, man.
Yeah, I feel like they
antiqued him live on Letterman.
Yeah, literally. Every time he went on Letterman, he'd always jump off something or go and steal the chair that Letterman would sit in, and he'd do something punk,
Right. Well, you got that big of an audience, you got to entertain, haven't you?
Yeah.
But that was great. The drums on that, fantastic.
Yeah, I thought the
cymbals.
guitar solo section was amazing.
Yeah.
The whole band kind of stays together. Again, I didn't hear acoustic in this. I think they've gone for the palm muted clean electric, which I think it works really well actually. It's like an acoustic is almost too big a gear shift. Whereas like going to a clean electric is like, don't worry, we'll put the distortion back on in a minute. But
yeah.
We're just going to relax,
Yeah, it can be quite. An acoustic doing that can sound a bit thin.
Yeah,
and when you do that on an electric, it gives it a bit of pulse to it. It sort of just keeps enough rigidity to what's happening for when you
snap back in.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Melody, what we were saying earlier about him being a melody magpie.
He's a naughty melody magpie. Yeah, yeah. He just, but fine. It's downtown, isn't it? He lifts a little bit from that, but then he's completely taken it in a new direction, and it is completely its own song now. But it's just that initial seed of inspiration, possibly.
Yeah, it's not hacky. It's not coming across as he's not a hack.
No,
and it's not plagiarism. It's wearing your influences on your sleeve.
Yeah.
And imitation, they say, is the most sincere form of flattery, but it doesn't even feel like imitation.
No,
it just feels like taking a great idea that someone has already used and putting another great spin on it.
Repurposing it, extending it. Yeah, extending its lifespan.
It's artistic. If it wasn't artistic, if it just felt like a flat copy and paste, less to respect there.
Yeah,
but it's done well, and it's almost more skill in taking the essence of something that you really love and you think is a great moment in musical history, and managing to give it a new identity within a different context.
Yeah, definitely.
All big hits do that anyway. If you break it down,
for sure, exactly.
Most of the time
it's just a long chain. It's just a long chain reaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of music, but yeah. I say let's go and wrap this up.
Yeah. It would be easy to have some confidence in that there could be a volume 2. It's not like they didn't stop doing BBC sessions after Warning.
No,
they didn't fall out with the BBC. Quite the opposite, really. So a volume 2, and they do this sometimes. The live at the BBC sessions, I always like them because bands always tend to pull out different versions and mess around with their live arrangements of songs and things like that in the studio.
They actually record them properly.
Actually do a good job of it. So I imagine a volume 2 could come because there are bands that have a second volume.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Let's hope so.
But
yeah, overall for me, I mean, I definitely heard some of those performances before. For instance, that When I Come Around, I mean, obviously, they were broadcast at the time, so they have been floating around, some of those, but they've done a really good job. I think it's a really interesting sequencing. They've picked it's not the ones you'd expect necessarily, particularly off Warning, you know. Really interesting track choices all round. And yeah, I'm just, you know, certainly the original material that Green Day are putting out these days, I've no interest in consuming. So I'm glad to have this, you know. Yeah, so what are we giving that out of 5, do you think?
Out of 5 for that release?
Yeah.
I think it's a 4.
I'd say a 4.
Yeah, I think 4 is good. I think 4 is good because there's that sort of bit in the middle, which is a little bit.
It's just that little Nimrod.
Just kind of sucks up the pacing a bit, I think.
Yeah, it's a shame. And certainly it's not the songs. I love all those songs. It's just they were bad recordings.
If they all sounded like the first few and the last few, I'd probably be like, it's a pretty flawless little release, actually.
Yeah.
But it is irritating, you know, it's irritating that production stuff, those hang-ups are there. Yeah. But yeah, I think 4, very good.
Overall, very happy with it. Great sound, great sequencing. It's just sort of, we're both Green Day fans, but it's not that often you sort of think about it really. So it's just nice to have something new, and I feel like we've sort of been able to kind of, it's a good little, we're able to sort of hook back into them a little bit with this new release. So yeah.
Hook being the word.
Hook being the word. Yeah. Very glad to have it, and yeah, hopefully we get more in future.
Yeah, I would like to hear some American Idiot stuff.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Well, there you go. That was the Giant Couch. It's one of the early episodes of a Giant Pod spin-off that me and Harry are going to be doing. When something comes out, something's released that we have a particular interest in and that we think there's a discussion to be had with, then we'll release one of these. It's fairly low effort and quite a lot of fun for us, actually, considering that the Giant Pod is fun, but it's quite a lot of effort. So it's quite nice to be able to just get in here, kick back, relax, and get something done. And if you haven't listened or watched the 3-parter Get Back discussion, then find it in the channel. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell us what you thought about this album. Did you disagree with us on any of our ideas about production and things like that, or influences?
We were throwing around some hot takes again, weren't we? Some spurious claims. So yeah, come and put us right. If we've said that some song was on one album and it's on another, get in there. Call us fucking idiots. Tell us what you think. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Yeah, again, like, subscribe, hit that little bell if you want to find out when
Demolish
we're doing
it.
Demolish that bell. Amazing. We will we'll catch you on the next Giant Couch. If you've got something actually that you'd like us to do, someone was calling for Metallica,
some kind of monster.
Yep. We're thinking about that still.
Yeah, I think so.
We've got some ideas for this stuff. It's just fun for us to do, and we enjoy doing it. So yeah, if you've got ideas of what you'd like us to talk about, then shoot them in the comments. Word. Thank you very much.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.